Few figures in the Mahabharata divide the heart like Karna. People remember his pain, his generosity, his humiliation, and his fierce loyalty. So the question becomes difficult immediately. Was Karna mainly a tragic hero crushed by fate, or was he also a deeply flawed man who kept choosing the wrong side even when he knew better? The easy answer is to call him a victim. The easy answer on the other side is to call him a villain. But the Mahabharata almost never rewards easy answers. It forces us to stay inside discomfort. Karna is powerful because he awakens admiration and unease at the same time. The same man who inspires loyalty also speaks cruelty. The same man who suffers injustice helps injustice grow. That is why Karna remains unforgettable. He does not represent one simple moral lesson. He represents a painful combination of wound, brilliance, pride, longing, and stubbornness. His life asks a dangerous question. If someone is deeply wronged by the world, does that pain excuse the harm he later causes others? The epic refuses to let us answer carelessly. To understand Karna, we have to move beyond romance and accusation. We must ask what shaped him, what redeemed him, what corrupted him, and what chances he still had to change. Only then can we see the truth clearly. Karna was tragic, yes. But tragedy alone is not the whole story, and that is what makes his fall so devastating. Karna's story begins with abandonment. Born to Kunti before her marriage and set afloat in secrecy, he enters the world already marked by silence and shame. He is a child of royalty and divinity, yet he grows up outside the identity that should have been his. Before Karna makes a single choice, fate has already planted a wound at the center of his life. He grows up with talent that cannot hide itself. Karna can feel greatness inside him, but the world keeps telling him he does not belong where greatness is recognized. This is one of the cruelest psychological pressures in the epic. To know your strength and still be denied legitimacy is enough to turn ambition into obsession. Recognition becomes more than success. It becomes survival. The tournament scene intensifies that wound. Karna steps forward to challenge Arjuna, and instead of being judged by skill, he is judged by birth. The message is brutal. Ability is not enough. Courage is not enough. Excellence is not enough. If your identity is questioned, your merit can be dismissed in public. That humiliation burns through Karna's entire future. Then Duryodhana does what almost no one else does. He sees Karna's hunger and gives him honor instantly. He makes him king of Anga and, in that one move, gives Karna status, friendship, and a place in the world. This is the emotional bond that explains so much later. Karna does not simply gain an ally. He gains the first powerful man who tells him he belongs. Karna is not admired by accident. His generosity is legendary because it is not occasional. It is part of his identity. He gives with pride, with openness, and with almost reckless dignity. This matters. The Mahabharata does not present him as hollow. He truly possesses nobility. He can recognize suffering because he has suffered. He can honor need because he remembers humiliation. Even the episode of his armor and earrings reveals this intensity. Karna's giving is not small or decorative. It cuts into his own security. He would rather remain faithful to his self-image as a giver than cling to protection. That kind of grandeur is rare. It is one reason audiences are drawn to him. He lives as if honor must be proved again and again before the world. His loyalty also has genuine force. In a world full of political convenience, Karna does not abandon the friend who raised him when others insulted him. That faithfulness feels admirable because it resists opportunism. Many people see Karna and think this is what loyalty should look like. Stand by the one who stood by you. Refuse to become a weather-driven ally. That instinct has moral beauty. And this is where the episode becomes morally dangerous. When a person has real virtues, we become tempted to excuse everything else. Karna's bravery, generosity, and loyalty are undeniable. But the Mahabharata does not say that one bright virtue erases darker choices. In fact, the greater the person, the greater the weight of the choices he makes when his virtues are tested. Now the hardest part begins. Karna's pain explains him, but it does not absolve him. In the dice hall, when Draupadi is humiliated, Karna does not merely remain silent. He participates. He speaks words that deepen her degradation. This is not a small lapse. It is one of the clearest moments in the epic where Karna's resentment turns into active cruelty. This matters because Draupadi had once rejected him publicly. The old wound returns, and Karna chooses revenge through humiliation. The Mahabharata is precise here. Hurt people are not automatically noble because they were hurt. Sometimes they become dangerous when a chance for retaliation arrives. Karna fails that test. He lets old injury guide present speech, and another innocent person pays the price. Again and again, Karna helps feed Duryodhana's confidence. He encourages rivalry, escalation, and the belief that force will solve what envy created. He is not the only cause of disaster, but he becomes one of its strongest emotional engines. That is the problem with reducing him to victimhood. Victims can still become enablers. The wound may explain the fire, but the fire still burns what it touches. And we should not hide behind the argument that Karna had no options because gratitude bound him completely. Gratitude matters, loyalty matters, memory matters, but conscience still matters too. A great soul is tested not only by what he receives from friends, but by whether he follows those friends into wrongdoing. Karna's flaw is not that he loved loyalty. It is that he let loyalty outrank dharma. Before the war, the epic offers Karna one of the most dramatic opportunities in all of Indian literature. Krishna reveals the truth of his birth. He tells Karna that he is not low-born at all. He is Kunti's son, the eldest Pandava by birth, and the kingdom could be his. In one moment, the world Karna longed for finally opens before him. This is the moment where Karna becomes truly heartbreaking. Everything he was denied is suddenly named as his by right. The legitimacy, the brotherhood, the royal status, the answer to his lifelong question, all of it stands before him. Yet accepting it now would also mean admitting that his deepest war was built on a mistaken identity and that his bond with Duryodhana helped sustain Adharma. Then Kunti comes to him as well, asking for a return that comes far too late. Karna's answer is complex and painful. He will not abandon Duryodhana, yet he promises not to kill all the Pandavas. He draws a narrow line of honor inside a catastrophe he is still willing to join. This is classic Karna. Even in restraint, he remains bound to the path of destruction. So why does he refuse to turn back? Partly loyalty, yes. Partly pride, certainly. Partly the fear that a new truth cannot heal an old lifetime. Karna would rather die as the man he chose to be than live by accepting the world that rejected him first. That decision is magnificent in one sense and fatal in another. It is tragedy mixed with stubborn flaw. By the time Karna falls in battle, the epic has already answered our question, but not with a single word. Karna is tragic because fate wounds him early, society humiliates him, truth reaches him too late, and his nobility never receives a fully just world. We should not deny that pain. To erase Karna's tragedy would be to ignore one of the Mahabharata's deepest meditations on dignity. But he is also flawed because pain does not remove responsibility. Karna repeatedly chooses resentment over restraint, loyalty over justice, and revenge over compassion. He knows what humiliation feels like, yet he humiliates. He knows what exclusion feels like, yet he joins a politics of exclusion. His wound explains him, but his choices still belong to him. That is the epic's moral severity. So the hard truth about Karna is not that he was tragic or flawed. It is that he was both, fully and painfully. That is why he still speaks to us. He warns us that talent without inner clarity can become destructive, that gratitude without moral boundaries can become complicity, and that suffering does not automatically purify the soul. It can also harden it. That is Karna's final lesson. Honor your wounds, but do not let them rule your conscience. If this episode helped you see the Mahabharata more deeply, like this video, subscribe to EkalavyaLearn, and turn on the bell icon so you receive the next story on time. Karna's greatness was real, but so was the cost of the choices he refused to change.